Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our NBA video for Monday, November 29th. We have a 9-game slate. I hope you guys had a good and profitable Sunday as far as NFL, NBA, whatever you might have played today. Been a long day, but hopefully I get you guys ready for the NBA slate later on today. It is 12:08 a.m. East Coast time, so we'll have more than enough time to view this video, get your game plan together, get your strategy up, and then attack this slate how we do it, So with that being said, it is 9 games. It's probably going to be a little bit of a video, so let's get started. As we usually do, we'll start with Draftkings. We'll start with point guard, and we'll start with our boy Luka, Mr. Luka. Luka's 11-3 today. The price looks mighty tough. However, it's not really that crazy. You just break it down. 11 times 5, 55. Add 3, 58. You're looking for 58. You'll take about 60, 63, 62, 63. 60 and better you're looking for at a price of 11.3. So, can Luka do that? Absolutely. Are we going to lock Luka in right now? Absolutely not. Once we get value, Luka's in play. But once we get value, then we circle back around on Luka to the point where we can put him in our lineup. But until we get value, we're not able to put him in our lineup because all you're going to do is take space. You got to make sure when you're playing your expensive players, you got to make sure that every spot is someone that's able to pay off their salary. So if you pick somebody for $3,500, they're supposed to give you 23, 24 fantasy points. If you pick somebody for $6,000, $6,000 salary, they got to be able to give you 36 fantasy points. If that player is not able to pay off their salary, they shouldn't be in your lineup. So when we get value, we'll come back to Luka. LaMelo, a little bit lighter, 10-4. Obviously, he can pay it off. He has a very tough matchup against Chicago. Obviously, they're going to have Lonzo and Caruso on him all day long. His brother shouldn't be a problem, but Caruso is a dog. Is LaMelo going to get to rack up over 55 fantasy points tomorrow with Caruso guarding him? That's the question you need to ask yourselves. He could do it. He's LaMelo. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the top guards in the league. But with us only looking at 2 players so far, he's in the same boat as Luka. Top tier play, very good play, in the player pool. But let's go find value first and then come back to the big dogs. If you ever notice when I make a video, if I ever put them in right away, it's because they're mid-range. When you play somebody mid-range, you can do anything you want. You can play someone expensive, you can play someone at value. But when so picking somebody at mid-range without looking at the rest of the slate, that's not, that's easily done. Usually when I see Anthony Edwards priced sub 8,000, that's a lock. He averages 40 fantasy points. So if he even hits average, he's paid off his salary. You know what I'm saying? And that's 40 fantasy points. So that's not that's not anything to take lightly. DeJounte Murray at $9,600 against Washington is an excellent play. There's no one there that's going to be able to stop him. They're going to be going back and forth. 47.3 is what he averages. 9.6, 54, 45. So you need about 51, 52 fantasy points from him against Washington. He's a very top tier play. DeJounte Murray is a top tier play today. Lillard at 95 against Utah. it's cool. DeJounte Murray is better. Beal 9-2 with Dinwiddie and Kuzma is reasonable. It's not the greatest price in the world because he's still got to give you over 45 fantasy points. Last 4 games, 43, 29, 33, and 45 fantasy points. He's a good play. He's not end all be all. So for 9,200, I'd rather get somebody that I know for sure is going to give me over 45 fantasy points. Playing with Dinwiddie, who has the ball a lot, who has a high usage, and Kuzma, who's going to take some shots. Beal is not ideal for what I want on my team. Remember, you want players that are going to play over 30 minutes, especially if they're in this price range. Over 30 minutes. You want them to start. You want them to take a lot of shots. And last thing, if they get stocks, that's a plus. Because that tells you if they have the bad shooting night, they're still gonna accumulate fantasy points by rebounds, steals, and blocks. So, and assists. So always keep that in mind. DFS is a lot of moving parts. You gotta be able to look at it and see everything that comes with it. What I like about Beal is that he's $9,200 and Damian Mitchell is right under him with a better matchup, $1,000 cheaper, $1,100 cheaper. Portland plays no defense. They play no defense at all. I'm not saying Washington plays defense. I'm saying you're paying $1,000 less for a player that averages almost the same amount of fantasy points with a higher upside, because they more than likely, if they don't blow them off the court, then it will be a shootout, and that's what you're looking for. Damian Mitchell is a top tier play today. Actually, Damian Mitchell is a top tier play today. SGA against Houston looks good. Still prefer Mitchell. I trust Mitchell a little bit better. SGA, like I said, this is a good play against Houston. Houston's looking like they want to be competitive now. You worry that the game may blow out, but you don't play for blowouts. Very good play, $8,000. You'll take 40, but you want 46, 48. Good play will come back to him. Russell, the problem with Russell that he has Cat and he has Anthony Edwards on his team that soak up a lot of usage and soak up a lot of shots. At $7,800, you need about 42 fantasy points from Russell. Can he give it to you? Yes. Are you going to get it tonight? We don't know. The probability of him scoring over 42 fantasy points, probably not high. He's a very good play. Secondary play to me. Secondary play for me. I'll come back to him. Garland's been playing well. Let's see how well Garland's been playing. Let's do the last 4 games. 36, 48, 34, 50 fantasy points from Garland. I would say that's well. As a starting point guard on Cleveland with his man Sexton out and Rubio coming off the bench, I will play Garland before I play Russell because this is a better play. He's $100 cheaper, yes. Dallas has a faster pace, and he's in his zone right now. He's found ways to be successful. Looking at the players last few games, sometimes it's a telltale sign if they're on a downtick or uptick. He's on the uptick, so catch him while he's hot. Why not? Cole Anthony out. Simmons out. McCollum. All year, McCollum's been okay. Nothing spectacular. $7,600. I'm sure I could find better plays at this price with a higher upside. McCollum's not for me. Listen, he could go out there and give you 50 fantasy points. He could. He most likely he won't, but he could. If you play him, that's fine. He's like a third tier option to me. He's just not for me. I don't have trust in him right now. Brogdon, I'd rather play Brogdon than play McCollum. The issue with Brogdon is that you get Miles Turner that goes off every 4 games. You get Sabonis that goes off every 3 games. You get Duarte. I don't know what he's doing. McConnell, sometimes he has good games. So, but Brogdon should. First of all, let's do this. I got Brogdon expected for 35 minutes. He's a 1.08 fantasy point per minute player. His usage is 25.58%. The numbers say he's an excellent play. The eye test says that when other players go off, they take away from him. You got to find the median between that. I'll say he's a good play. Let's see what he did his last 4 games. 38, 44, 37, and 23. He's played 29, 46, 34, 29, 46, 36, and 34 minutes. And he's taken 9, 21, 10, and 12 shots. You want these shots to be 15 and up. You'll take 12. But I do have faith in Brogdon. And he is a good play to me. At $7,400, I'd take that chance, especially against Minnesota. Tyrese Maxey, starting point guard for the Sixers. It looks like Embiid is back. They're not going to need Maxey to be Superman. He is a good play, but at $7,300, with Embiid back and with Harris back, I'm not going to pay $7,300 for him. You're going to need him to do a lot. Tyler Hero, questionable. Tyler Hero doesn't change. $7,200 coming off the bench. Absolute beast. Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is expected for 31 fantasy points, 0.95 fantasy points per minute, 29.20 usage. You're playing Tyler Hero for his usage off the bench with that second unit. Tyler Hero is a good play. He's almost at a 1 point per minute fantasy point. His usage is almost 30%, and he's playing 33 minutes. So that's why you play Tyler Hero. Terry Rozier has been playing better of late. 48, 53, 28, 48, 75 fantasy points. What I say about Charlotte, you never know which one of them are going to go off. Is it going to be him, Miles, Hayward? Rozier is hot right now. I'm not worried about Chicago's defense. I just don't know who's going to go off. Rozier is in play, like a secondary option, but he is in play. Lonzo on Chicago, $7,000. You need 35 fantasy points for him to be viable. 10, 41, 37, and 36.75 fantasy points. I think the fast pace of Charlotte helps out Lonzo. He's in play, like a secondary tier. I'd play him. Lowry, $7,000 against Denver. 22, 40, 22, 38.75 fantasy points. I don't know what he's going to do from game to game. For me, he is in the player pool, but I won't play him. Porter Jr., 30, 22, 35, and 54. Who saw Kevin Porter coming with a 54 fantasy point game? Kevin Porter is a good play. His price went up. His price went up $1,000. For me, I wouldn't play him. You need 42 fantasy points from him tonight. You need 40 fantasy points from him tonight at $7,000. Ask yourself that question. Is Kevin Porter Jr. going to give me 42 fantasy points tonight against OKC? He can, but will he? Listen, last guy in. If you have $6,800 left, Porter's in play. I'm not going to go out of my way to put Porter in my lineup. Because if you pick Porter and he gives you 12 fantasy points, you're going to be pretty pissed off. Rubio off the bench. $19, $33, $29, and $23. Another guy coming off the bench. We don't know what he's going to do. I'm cool on that. He is a play. It's a good play. Just me not playing because he's coming off the bench and I don't know what he's going to do. Reggie Jackson last 4 games, 32, 53, 33, and 4. 21 minutes. 21 minutes. 4 fantasy points. I'm out of here. Conley, another guy, 37, 28, 27, 28. That's what he looks like. That's what he is. 28 points per game. 28 fantasy points per game. 5,900. You need 30 just to be viable. You need 36 if you want to win money. He's giving you 28 fantasy points. Day in and day out. That's not enough. Mike Conley's a pass for me. Derek White. 14, 38, 21, and 44 fantasy points last 4 games. Now the reason I go into the players that I check on are players that are in the player pool. These are players that we know could have good games. We know they can have good games. We know Conley, we know White, we know all these guys can have good games. They're in the player pool. The question is, what level are they? Top tier, second tier, third tier. That's what we're doing here. At the end of the day, you have 8 spots to fill. The reason you have 8 spots to fill is because everybody can't be expensive and everybody can't be, all-stars. You're going to have to make choices on who at mid-level and low-level salaries are going to help you win money. So we go through everybody so that way you guys could form an opinion on your own of who from the mid-tier and the low tier you think will have a good game for that slate. That's why we talk our way through it. Everything matters here. Everything matters. If I go into their last four games, those players are viable. I just don't have that feeling in my gut that they're what I need in this lineup for today's slate to win money. There's certain variables that matter to who we play and why we play them. And some of these guys gonna jump off the board. You know what I'm saying? I would hate to play a player over $5,000 that doesn't even give me 25 fantasy points. And if we could find ways to, weed out the wheat, then this process of elimination, by eliminating certain players, other players rise up, other players look better. And as we go through all these positions, then we can look back and see who stands out. So far, Damian Mitchell screams great play. $8,100 against Portland. You gotta be kidding me. Let's continue. Caruso at 5,300. Last man in, you can take a chance. $5,300 on Clarkson. Last man in, you can take a chance. Should be an up and down game. They might need a shooting. LeVert. Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs didn't play because he's starting. Let's see what Jalen Suggs been doing. Let's see something. Jalen Suggs. He's expected for 30 minutes a game. He's a 0.94 fantasy point per minute player. His usage is at 26.22%. That says at $5,300, he is a good play. The numbers say he's a good play. Let's see what he's been doing. Last 10 games, 11, 32, 27, and 26. Yeah, I remember this game. Alright, let's throw that game out, because that game was awful all across the board. $5,300, last man in. Jalen Suggs is a good play. Eric Bledsoe against the Pelicans. 9, 9, 23, and 29 fantasy points. He played 26 minutes and gave me 9 fantasy points. He did that twice, 2 games in a row. I'm cool. What do we have? Monte Morris, always a decent play, especially when people are out. 19, 16, 20, and 28. Listen, Monte Morris is a good basketball player. Fantasy-wise, there's a little bit left to be desired. I'm not knocking him. It's just, he's not the greatest fantasy player. They got him at $4,900. That means you need 30 fantasy points if you want to win money. Okay. NAW, $4,800. What has he been doing? 10 games. Last 4 games, 25, 20. Let's move on. Devonte Graham. 18, 15, 25, and 11. Let's move on. RJ Hampton. 35, 12, 5, and 16 fantasy points. I said the other day, RJ Hampton is good for games when Orlando gets blown out and he comes in for cleanup duty. That's what I said, and that's what his last 4 games fantasy points are showing you. Listen, sometimes a lot of you listen to me, sometimes people don't listen to me. They can do what they want to do with their money. I'm always going to try to give you the correct play and the correct information from the eye test, from their last 4 or 5 games, and from what the statistics say. I have all the information right in front of me. If I tell you RJ Hampton is not a good play, and you tell me RJ Hampton is a good play, and he gives you 5.5 fantasy points in 20 minutes, don't thumbs down my video. Don't thumbs down my video because you didn't want to listen to me. I'm trying to help everybody. If you're watching this video, if you're subscribed to this video, to me, to my page, if you guys, I want the best for you. Because when you do well, I do well. I'm only going to give you correct information. That's the relationship I'm trying to build with you guys. So there are people out there that don't listen to me, play the wrong people, and then try to dislike my video out of spite. You can't spite me because I know what I'm doing. So I just wanted to put that out there. We will continue, and we will continue with shooting guard. From the looks of the rest of this, it looks like deep dumpster diving. Now listen, if we get to, an hour before lock, 2 hours before lock, there's no real value. You guys need one player in, $4,000, $4,300. You can hit me up and I'll help you. You know what I'm saying? But, I want to see everybody win. Alright, shooting guard. We spoke about Melo, Beal. Levine at $8,800 is a very good play. I like the matchup. I like the pacing with Charlotte. They like to run and gun. Levine is a top tier play. We'll get back to him. Anthony Edwards, my boy. They got him and Russell right next to each other. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a Russell fan. I haven't played him that much in fantasy. But I remember when he was in Brooklyn, he was the main dude. Russell is special. Russell is special. The only problem I have with Russell is that he has to share the ball. But Russell is special. I want you guys to know that. Anthony Edwards is a top tier play. D'Angelo Russell is a good play. More than likely, I'm going to pick up Edwards, but I just want to see what else is out there. Okay, we went through all of this. Is BI healthy? I know he's playing, but is he healthy? 24, 39, 38, and 20 fantasy points. You can't pay $7,500 and get 20 fantasy points from that player. Until he shows us that he's healthy and alive, we can't play him. Hero, spoke about ROZIER. Will Barton is a decent play. $7,100. You need 35 fantasy points to talk. You need 42 fantasy points or better to win money. Jalen Brunson, not really playing. I'm not paying $7 if Luke is playing. Josh Giddey, I don't mind playing him. Pace up spot with Houston, $6,500. That's fine. That's an okay play. We spoke about Derek White. I don't play Tim Hardaway Jr. Lou Dort, decent play. Kelly Oubre, you don't know when he's going to go off. 13, 29, 33, and 39 fantasy points. Last man in, $5,300. I'm fine with Kelly Oubre. I probably would even play him now over Jordan Clarkson. Kelly Oubre is looking like he's found his niche off the bench with Charlotte. You're seeing that in his fantasy points, so I trust him and I'll play him if he was my last man in. Went through all of that. Eric Gordon, 29-11, 18 and 36 fantasy points. But I was like, he plays 37 minutes. And that game went into like 2 overtimes. So that doesn't count. Overtime games don't count for players when that's the only real good fantasy point outing. So I won't play him. I'll pass. Seth Curry and beat his back. Probably not a play. Maybe last man in, 5,100. He's fine. Luke Kennard, Duncan Robinson, Shake Milton, Jalen Green, Malik Beasley, Caldwell Pope. Listen, the rest of those they're on the outside looking in. When the value opens up, then we'll revisit that. Right now, none of them look good, so I'm not going to make anything up. Let's move on to small forward. Paul George, yes. Butler, yes. Bridges, 8,000 flat, yes. We spoke about Bart and Giddy, Aaron Gordon. If Jokic is playing, I don't give a shit about Aaron Gordon. Kuzma, he's okay, but I wouldn't play him. You know what? If you had no choice, Kuzma's fine. I'd play him over Hayward, because you don't know who on Charlotte will go off. Marketing, 5,600, last man in, he's fine. Lou Dort, he does a lot of different things, 5,400, last man in, he's fine. Josh Hart, same thing. 37, 35, 19, and 15 fantasy points. I don't know what's going on with him, but why are you getting 15 fantasy points? 24 minutes. Nah, you know what? Hart's not in play. He's taking up shots. Next, Bogdanovich, 5,200 against Portland. 5,200. He's cheap. The thing is with him, he doesn't do much else. Listen, I'll play him. $5,200. You need like 30 fantasy points from him. So, against Portland, this might be the game to get it. Bogdanovich is in play. Franz Wagner, not for me. Jason Tate, I think he was in one of the winning lineups. One of the top lineups the other day. $4,800, 28 fantasy. He was $4,600. He got 28 fantasy points. He played 36 minutes. He's an okay play for his price. Terrence Mann, Jeff Green, Duncan Robinson, Gordon Nang. Nope. Listen, a lot of these guys in the 4,000s, they're last man in, but they aren't really good plays. We're going to wait for value to open up. Power forward. DeRozan, 8,700, good play. Porzingis, I'd rather play DeRozan. Sabonis, looks really good. You just put it in Sabonis at power forward, that's all. Where were we? Tobias Harris, $7,800, prefer Sabonis. Evan Mobley, 6,700, he looks fine. I'll play him over Gordon, Kuzma, Hayward, Wendell Carter. I know I said that we don't play Orlando, but he's been playing very well. His price went back up. 26, 36, 48, and 40. You got to jump on the bandwagon at $6,300. You got to. You have to. When a player's on the uptick, you got to ride the wave. When they're on a downward trend, you get off. When they're on an upward trend, you get on. That's DFS for you. Listen to what I'm saying. Calvin Johnson, no. Marketing, last man in, cool. Josh Hart, no. Bogdanovich, yes. PJ Washington, I don't know what's going on with this bum, but 13-2, 27-36. But this was an overtime game, so this don't count. PJ Washington has to do more for me to trust him. $5,100 is a good price for him. It is a good price. It technically is a good play, but I don't trust him. Vanderbilt. These guys that don't score, you got to be very careful. You know, you're paying almost $5,000 for a guy that doesn't really score. $36, 38, 20, 28 fantasy points. 5 real points. 14 rebounds. 15 rebounds. 8 rebounds. He gets a lot of stocks, I can't lie, but for a guy that's not scoring, you know, $4,800 is a reach. Listen, last man in, you'll take him. Kevin Love, last man in, you'll take him. Baisley, last man in, you'll take him. Marcus Morris, I don't really know. Can't come back off an injury, but I don't know. Let me see. 11, 19, 16, and 28. I'll pass on him today until I know he's back. Jeff Green, $4,600. If Jokic is healthy, I'm not interested. Gorgie Nang, nope. Sengun is always a good play, $4,300, but he's a backup center. You do with that what you may. 20, 29, 23, 19 fantasy points. 12, 16, 21, 24 minutes. Last man in, he's fine. Finney Smith, last man in, he's fine. Rudy Gay, everybody loves Rudy Gay now. Everybody loves Rudy Gay. 9, 22, 14, 32 fantasy points. Okay. If you like Rudy Gay, play him. Covington is at $3,800. 25, 28, negative 0.5 fantasy points in 15 minutes. Okay, wow. Wow. I'm speechless. Alright, Larry Nance. 17, 17, 12, 22 fantasy points. 22, 15, 20, and 24 minutes. 24 minutes. Last man in, you can play him. I'm not going any lower than that. Anything lower is the G League. Let's go to our centers and wrap up Draftkings. It's a lot to unpack. Listen, if you're new here, that's what we do. We break down these NBA slates. This video is a little bit lengthy, but we want to make sure we know what we're doing and how we're doing it. So, thumbs up the video. That helps me with YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the bell. That way you know when I drop these videos. And let's continue breaking down this slate, and I'll move as fast as I can. Alright, center. Jokic at 11-4. Good price. Embiid 10-5 against Orlando. Good price. Cat 9-7 against Indiana. Very good. Rudy Gobert, love it. Valanciunas 84, love it. Vucevic, I don't like it. He's the third option. Christian Wood 8,200. Good price. Bam 800. Good price. 10-game slate 40, 21, 43, and 63 fantasy points. Christian Wood looks like a good player. Let's see what he's been doing. He's going to give us 30 minutes a game. He's averaging 1.23 fantasy points per minute. He has a 22.19 usage percentage. I say that's a very good play. Jared Allen at $7,500 is a joke. Jared Allen, $7,500 should not be $7,500. 25, 43, 41, 40 fantasy points. He's $7,500. Jared Allen. He's expected for 37 minutes, 1.06 fantasy point per minute, 17.08 usage. I'm so sorry, but Jared Allen is a must play for me. Drummond, no. Mobley, we spoke about him, yes. Bamba, yes. Bamba's price has come down. You could actually play Bamba or Carter Jr. He's questionable. 27, 9, 35, and 15. I think it's to Wendell Carter. Is there a possibility that Wendell Carter gets in foul trouble dealing with Embiid? Absolutely. So what we will do is We'll leave it for now. When we get more value, then we can upgrade at center. Right now, he's still a fine play. Nurkic, not for me. Miles Turner. Miles Turner can give you 50 fantasy points or 4 fantasy points. I'll pass today. Jacob Pertl is a good play. 8, 28, 32, 29 fantasy points. The game that he had 8 points, he played 15 minutes. Jacob Pertl is very reliable. He's always been reliable. Let's see what he's been doing. Jacob Pertl, he's going to give you 30 minutes. He's a 1.10 fantasy point per minute with a 17.14 usage rate. We're going to take out Wendell Carter and we're going to put in Jacob Pertl. He's slightly a better play and he's cheaper. PJ Washington, no. Harrell, 61. Zubac, I'm cool. Gaffer, 47, I'm cool. Hernan Gomez, I'm cool. Hernan Gomez, last 4 games, 22, 22, 19, 18 minutes. 35, 37, 30, 22 fantasy points. Listen, he's looking like a good play, but there's a very good chance that he gives you 20 minutes and 9 fantasy points, but he's been playing well. If he's your last man in, it's fine. Earl Ray, 4,200. All he does is rebound. Maxi Kleber, last man in. I would like him to be starting, and last man in, I'll take him. Covington, I'm good. Harkenstein, last man in, $3,700, fine. Larry Nance Jr., same thing, last man in, you're fine. Listen, you could take Whiteside, last man in at $3,500. Let me tell you why. Whiteside's only going to give you about 18 minutes a game, but his fantasy points is 1.25 per minute. So you can give me 1.25 fantasy points per minute at a 19.12 usage. That means that he'll give you fantasy points quick. So he might play 18 minutes, but he will give you what you need. At $3,500, you're going to need about 20 fantasy points. And at a 1.25 clip for fantasy points, he can give that to you in 18 minutes. That's the reasoning for the fantasy point per minute. It lets you know what you're dealing with. The reason Luka gives you 50, 60 fantasy points is because his fantasy point per minute is high. You times the fantasy point per minute times the minutes that they play. That's how you get the fantasy points. That's why the same people are always winning. Because they have these stats and these metrics to go off. And when you do projections take everything into consideration. All these stats that I give you are what break down projections. So that's how the whales keep winning. And the people that don't win continue not to win. Because they don't have this information at hand. Okay, well, we're done with center. Like I said, everybody I mentioned is in the player pool. You get your core 5, and then we wait for value later on. I got one more player to pick out. Bridges, Levine, Edwards. Do we have enough money to pay for anybody we want? Let's see something. Now that leaves you a little light. That leaves us a little light. I don't want to do that to you guys. If we get absolute value, you can plug in Paul George. Paul George is always a top tier play. Let's do Anthony Edwards. That leaves us at 41.33 left. We'll wait for some value, and we're going into war with Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Sabonis, Jacob Pertl, and Jared Allen. Now tell me that's not a starting 5. All right, we know who we're messing with now. So let's go to Fanduel. Let's bang this out and let's get this video. Let's get this video going. LaMelo 96, good price. Damian Lillard is cheap. He's been playing better. How much better? Let's find out. 24. 54, 38, 52, and 20 and 24 against Golden State. I'll give him a pass because that was Golden State. We're starting this with Damian Lillard. $8,600. He's way too cheap. Levine at $7,800 is a joke. DeJounte Murray is an excellent play. If Jimmy Butler, what? Why would he be $9,200? Whatever. Small forward. So we got 86 and 92. We need to start. Looking for value. Until we get value, we'll make our own value. We're playing Kevin Porter, $6,300. So bonus is 83. He's cheap here also. Jared Allen at $7,700 is a crime. What does that leave us with? 56.40. Embiid 10-1. Gobert. Cat is 88. Sabonis is 83. Jared Allen, Mobley, Vucevic, Christian Wood 74. Valanciunas, Bamba, Wendell Carter 65. Let's try Wood. That leaves us with $5,200. And you know what? That's fine. Let me see something. Let me just see something. Will Barton, Kevin Porter 63. Will Barton. Jason Tate. I'll take Kevin Porter right now. It looks like he makes sense to play Kevin Porter. So we're gonna do Lillard, Paul George, Kevin Porter, Jared Allen, Christian Wood as our starting five. Leaves with $5,200 left, and we will wait for value. Okay, that went pretty smooth. Now let's hit Superdraft. Let's get out of here. Listen, I know this video is a little bit long. I've been doing a lot of talking, a lot of explaining. I appreciate each and every one of you watching this video. And I thank you, and I promise you this will work out for all of us. 1.15. DeJounte Murray is a super draft beast. LaMelo too, but his price went down to 1.1. Anthony 1.25. Let's do Bean. McCollum, Russell, Lowry, Lonzo. Lonzo should have a big day running back and forth against his brother. Bridges 1.3. Mobley, Turner, Harrell, Carter 1.45. Tobias, Bam 1.25. Power forward. In the power forward spot. I'll take Christian Wood at a 1.25. At center, Jokic 1, Embiid 1.05. Jared Allen at a 1.25. I'm taking Embiid at a 1.05. We got Murray 1.115. Levine 1.25. Ball 1.35. Carter 1.145. Bam. You know what? Bam hasn't been playing well. Bam has not been playing well. We will replace Bam with Embiid. Wendell Carter, Paul George. You know what? Let's do Embiid, Paul George, and 1. If Jokic plays, we play Jokic. If Jokic does not play, we play Cat. Now, we got Murray, 1.15, Levine, 1.25, Lonzo, 1.35, Embiid, 1.05, Paul George, 1.05, Wood, 1.25, and Jokic, 1. Embiid and Paul George should be 1 multipliers, flat 1. So that 0.05 is what made me lock them in. All right, boys and girls, it's been real. It's been fun breaking down the slate. I appreciate you all. Any questions, any comments, throw it in the chat. Remember, this is a positive zone, so keep it positive. The Patreon, I haven't really been pushing the Patreon like that because I really wouldn't want you to sign up until the 1st of December, because that's how the plans go. The 1st to the 1st, so I wouldn't want you to sign up now with 2 days left, 3 days left, whatever it is. So the Patreon is alive and well, and I'm gonna have complete cores, whatever. Listen, the Patreon is basically going to be whatever you need. If you need lineups before a lot, you get that. My cheat sheet is going to have all the data that I've been, all the information I've been giving to you in the videos is going to be on one chart, so you can see it. It's going to be accessible, and you can break it down and see what's what and what makes sense to you. And most of you already have access to me. Whenever you ask a question, I respond right away. But then the Patreon also includes direct access to me if you need any type of help, before a lot, things of that nature. So if you're a hardcore player, you're looking to win real money and take this thing seriously, then I suggest you get the Patreon. If the videos alone work for you and you've been profiting off of that, then I salute you. For those of you that need a little bit more help, the Patreon will help you. Listen, I've taken enough of your time. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell, thumbs up the video. Let YouTube know that I'm working hard to break these videos down, so when you spend your well-earned money, it makes sense and you get rewarded. And I think that's about it. It's been real. I'll talk to you soon. Good luck with DFS today, and have a good day. Ciao.